Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now, as we crest into week 2 of the Shin Megami Tensei DeviKids collaboration, it looks like we're going to be kind of getting the models drip-fed to us one at a time over the course of this week, going forward. Last week we had the introduction of Makai Setsuna and Cerbero Cool. This week we'll be seeing only one brand new model from the collab joining the roster in the fray of Robattle, alongside a handful of other really interesting rewards that it's bringing with them, and of course a couple of brand new skills that we can expect to see in future developments going forward. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was officially announced for this week, starting with the gacha banners and who to expect. Now, this week is going to be fairly light compared to last week, and I highly expect it's probably going to keep this kind of pacing going forward. With only one brand new event and one model going forward, it's not going to be super tight. It's not going to be super tight or super hype, and at this point, it's just going to be as you see the need and as you see the convenience to join in and participate. But starting with the gacha banners, this week we only see the introduction of one brand new model, which is DVC-02 Maosifa, with a kit of Thunderbeam, Desolation Shot, Diminish, Float Legs, and Auto Charge. Now, I listed Desolation Shot as a brand new skill because the first time we actually saw it was with Cosmo Lagan, with the Gurren Lagann collaboration, but as a melee skill. So, realistically, the skill isn't exactly new per se, and more or less just a shooty version of it that's officially joining the roster as well. But it behaves relatively the same. Requires 30 CG to use, doubles damage against piercing, but also behaves as destroy under specific conditions. However, the other new skill that it's bringing to the mix, Diminish, is basically like a static light, whereas instead of taking half of the total remaining HP per hit, it's instead taking a third of the HP at the same kind of modifier. So it's incapable of breaking parts much like static is, and my justification for it was it's essentially just a lighter version of static for those that perhaps don't have it yet. But honestly, it's kind of hard telling. I had a hard time trying to justify this one when I was looking over the skill breakdown and just what exactly it did. But this is the new model that is going live this week with 2 new skills and the return of another collab-only skill, Thunderbeam from the Godzilla collaboration. But the boosted rates that are going live alongside Maosifar are also fairly familiar faces that we've seen up to this point. The first of which is DVL-03 Blossomale with Destroy, Double Sacrifice, Biped Legs, and Bloodstain, who can meta-change into a proper bestial-like form with a kit of Triple Destroy, Multi-Legs, but maintain Bloodstain. So not really anything to list off or think about too heavily with Blossomale, but the fact that she is capable of TP does give her some extra perks that she perhaps didn't have before to kind of help her last a little longer or hit just a little bit harder than she did before. Alongside Blossomale, we have another familiar devil type, LCF-0 Old Superbia, with Bug, Confusion, Blowaway, Biped Legs, and Haja. Now, not necessarily as well known as Blossomale, and the kit is kind of scattered between a more aggressive melee interruption kind of design and kit, but still some decent parts to make use of all the same, regardless of whichever one you choose to go after. It is also worth noting that, as a friendly reminder, given that Blossomale is a meta-change type model, it does require that you will either be pulling the entire set all at once or none at all. So the rate to get Blossomale is going to be just a little bit smaller than it would be either from Maosifar or for Old Superbia, but that is just something to keep in mind. For the Fierce battles we have this week, it's going to be a mixed ailment and coverage variety with a lot of the stuff that is brought to the table and what we can expect with this week's Fierce battles. So everyone does have something that's very good and put to very good use immediately, or takes a little bit of investment to do so. But starting us up on this top row, we have LLY-0 Lily Madonna with Triple Laser, Tank Legs, and also with Haja. We have GRM-0 Wild Ukon with Rifle, Double Hammer, Biped Legs, and Radiator, and MNT-0 Flat Stake with Triple Virus, Sea Legs, and Acrobatics. On the bottom row, we have HPP-01 Hippopotensia with Conceal, Double Break Hammer, Wheeled Legs, and No Guard. LBR-0 Libra with Gravity Guard, Anti-Air, Anti-Sea, Float Legs, and Primacy. And MOL-0 Horny Devil with Fire Shot, Double Missile, Wheeled Legs, and Desert type. Now, honestly, Horny Devil is going to be the really big MVP of the week, primarily for the Wheeled Legs and Desert type, because Wheeled Legs by themselves are usually really bad at terrain compatibility, usually only having 2 or even 3 tops if you include Cyber that they're actually really good on. So being able to have an alternative here that you can use without having to rely on Flight Legs makes it really good to hold on to. Everyone else also does have some high value as well, either as budget parts or just something to hold on to in the library. But to explain briefly, Lily Madonna is good for triple laser for your optic-oriented female DPS, Wild Ukon for more or less your conventional melee shoot with a rifle or hammer, and Flat Stick mostly for your turn skipping. But anyone that played the old GBA game perhaps already knows how useful of a turn skipper he can be. Hippopotensia mostly will be really good for coverage against heavy types with the Break Hammer, and Libra also really good for that coverage against air and sea types. So ultimately, collect all 6 just to have on hand, but Horny Devil probably will be the big one you want to focus on and invest in the most, even if exclusively for the legs. For the event, though, for Wave 2 of the DeviKids collaboration, we do see the introduction of one brand new medal also being introduced into the game, so it is going to be very exciting. This time around, we have the opportunity to earn the Summoner medal, which has a mastery in melee, shooting, and support, and leg masteries of biped, multi, and meant to say float, not flight, that is a typo there. We can also feature another profile banner featuring other characters from the DeviKids series, and of course more monthly gacha tickets for the month of December. This event specifically will be ticket-based, so bonuses will be stacking per part equipped across the team. Basically, this translates to if you can scrounge together a mixed set to get those bonuses, well, you have at it, my friend, because you're still going to be getting those bonuses either way. But if you do have a highlighted model, such as, say, Maoshifar, that will give you that highest bonus for the gold or premium ticket through the event store while it is up. But that basically does it for all the Meta S stuff, so it is fairly light, like I said, not really anything to mention too heavily, mostly just round 2, wave 2 of the DeviKids collaboration. But Meta Survivor did drop another brand new friend to join us here in the game so far, and that is Pt.2, featuring a very good emphasis on damage plus and also with cooldown plus. And for those that missed my stream on Sunday, where I talked about Meta Survivor in more detail, the higher your cooldown means, the faster you can fire things off without needing a recharge. So very exciting for what she brings to the table on that. Now, it is also worth noting 2 things, actually. The first of which is that this means that all 3 of the version 2 bodies of the Metatubers, Shushu Pop, Leah Lila, and Cheerful Bunny, now have their V1 and their V2 bodies all in Meta Survivor currently. So I'm actually really excited for when Shushu Pop 3 officially hits the scene, because I still honestly love her V3 body more than I do anything else, more than I do her other forms. But with that being said, there is also one other big piece of news for those that did miss my stream on Sunday. First of all, why did you? Because it was super exciting to have everybody there and talk about it. There was another really big piece of news that was announced last week we talked about, and it's been making waves, positive and negative, all through the course of the weekend for the Medarot community. So let me go ahead and play that for you guys real quick and bring you guys back up to speed. That's right, folks. In case you missed the announcement either last week or Sunday, Medabots Survivor is officially going live. with a localized version, and the first time that we've seen our favorite Yellow Beetle Boy here in the West in 22 years. Finally, after a long time coming, we finally have the boy coming back. And not only is he coming back with all his old friends from the days of yore, but also coming with a handful of brand new ones that either had never seen the realm of Row Battle before, such as with Alpha Soma or Bularis Mondi, but also a lot of other older models from the series that had never seen localization before. So very, very excited for that and everything that is coming with it. Just as a friendly reminder, the pre-registration for the game is now officially open, and they confirmed this morning that it will be available in over 130 different countries. In fact, you can even check your App Store right now. It most likely will be there, with a launch date of February 28th, 2026. So we have a little over 2 months before the game officially launches. And going forward, we will be hearing more information, most likely some more teasers and some heads up on that closer to release day. But this is the first instance of meta bots that we've ever seen in English in the last 2 decades, so I'm honestly really stoked for it. It's honestly hard telling, though. This has been the big question we're going to have for a while, is just exactly how are they going to handle the localization? Are they going to keep the old English names that we had from before, or are they going to change them up and leave the JP translated names? So we will have to see, honestly, how they choose to go about that. But again, Medabots Survivors will be going live in February 28, 2026, like I said, available in over 130 countries at launch. Pre-registration is open right now. If you need a brief overview on what to expect of the game and just a handful of the brand new models that were introduced by the guest artists that were featured in Meta Survivor, go take a look at my stream from this last Sunday. And you can tune in for the first, roughly about the first hour or so. The second hour is mostly just the AMA with me and just some back-end information. But do make sure you go tune into that and follow it for all the general coverages and meeting the cast, and kind of make sure that you're prepared for launch day. But moving on from that, of course, we are always looking for assistance with any of our ongoing fan projects, such as with the Medarot 4 translation or any manga translations. So if you are knowledgeable in coding, cleaning, Japanese, or have some time on your hands, or if you know somebody that might be, definitely feel free to reach out to us and ask or talk about it, and we can get you in touch with the right people. Alternatively, you can also donate to the cause with a link to various crowdfunding in the comments below, and we can commission some of those lines of text to be translated on our behalf. This means that it'll make loads of the work on the translators a whole lot easier than it was before, so all they can focus on is cleaning and typesetting, which is just as difficult given that Medarot 4 has incrementally so much more text to translate than Medarot 3 ever did. So the more help we have on that, the better. Or, if you have enough interest in a party to get started on another translation project, by all means, let us know, reach out to us, and I'll shout you out and try to get you guys some viewership and engagement, and shine a spotlight on you guys however I can. One final note before I do wrap us up, as a friendly reminder, I am on Card now with a link there as you see. So if you'd like to reach out to me or see any of the socials that I'm on, a little overview of who I am, or if you'd like to even see my commission prices for live 2D ready to rig, 3D models, my VTube 64, or just anything else in general, that's the first place you can very easily see it all in one place. There is a link on my Discord. There is also a link on all my socials as well, in case you need to know where to find it or how you can find it very easily. But that does basically cover everything for this week's episode. So, like I said, it is fairly light as far as content is concerned, and going to be fairly quiet this week, with the introduction of only Mao Shafar from the DeviKids collaboration being the only really big thing with the Summoner Medal. And of course, the really big news, I'm going to continue to follow up on it every time there is updates with Medabots Survivor closer to launch day. Now, the question remains is how I'm going to keep the news between Medarot Survivor and Medabots Survivor separate, or if I choose to compile them all into one. It's honestly kind of hard telling. It's going to depend on how they choose to handle the localization, and if they choose to just make it a setting in the game, make it a toggleable setting in the game, or if it'll be a completely separate server. It's hard telling. We will have to figure that out when we get to it. If it's 2 separate servers, they'll have their own separate tabs. If it is the same server, then nothing changes, and then you will just simply get the meta news in 1 or 2 slides, pretty much as I have been doing so far. And then, of course, if you guys want to talk about it, you can hit me in the comments or reach out to me privately, and I can bring you up to speed. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping in, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.